Back. Have you ever talked to God while you're shopping at Walmart? I do. I did today, and it's springtime here in Dallas, Texas, and I was walking through Walmart. I needed to get birthday supplies for a birthday party that my kids have been invited to. And when you're looking to celebrate somebody, you look and see what they like. You look and see how they want to be celebrated. And I know them a little bit, and so I got gifts according to their personality or interests or likes and dislikes, right? And even the parents had set the theme of the party. I was like, okay, so I'm going by what someone else has set, what someone else prefers, what someone else has said is what they like. And so then I was looking through the store, and it is ready for Easter, fully decked out. Easter baskets, Easter eggs, Easter candy, aisles and aisles of Easter candy, Easter clothes. And I thought, Lord, I know how to celebrate these children that have been invited to a birthday party. But is this really how you want to be celebrated? And it felt, when I looked at it, it felt like a lot. It felt like it was being celebrated by the culture, by the world, right? Very acceptable to celebrate Easter. Really, even if you're not a Christian, right? You just go Easter egg hunting, go take a picture with the Easter bunny, go get candy, right? And the Lord was talking to me. Usually when you ask him a question, you have to be careful. He will answer you back. And usually it's in the form of a question. And his question back was, do you see me in the decorations, items, gifts, anything? I said, no, not really. And he said, show me what's being celebrated. Tell me what's being celebrated. I said, candy, Easter bunnies, Easter baskets, Easter egg hunts. Not really you. I don't see you in these decorations and gifts and themes and stuff. He said, well, what other celebration has all of that? I was like, okay, what other celebration has candy and baskets and dressing up and, oh my goodness, Halloween? I guess Halloween. And he goes, well, what other celebration has me plus something else? I was like, well, okay, so if Easter has, some people celebrate that you died on the cross and rose again, right? Some people celebrate the Easter bunny and Easter eggs and Easter egg hunts and candy. And he goes, what other holiday celebrates two things like that? I was like, well, Christmas, really. Christmas celebrates baby Jesus, nativity scene, story of Christmas, Messiah comes to the world. But it also celebrates Santa and reindeer and setting out cookies and milk for Santa and its reindeer, set out a carrot. Oh, or elf on a shelf. That's true. We have added that to Christmas. Christmas trees. No, I don't think Christmas trees celebrate the nativity. Hold on. This doesn't feel like this conversation is going well. And God goes, Crystal, what store are you in? I was like, well, I've already named it. It's big, it's international, it's where I was. And he said, does Walmart celebrate me? Does Walmart claim to be a follower of Jesus Christ? I was like, no. Pretty obvious answer to me, no. So he said, do I expect Walmart to celebrate Jesus? No. So if Walmart is in the world internationally and celebrating something, most likely it's not going to be of Jesus. And the reason I say that is because then I came back, I quit the conversation. To be quite honest, it did not go the way I wanted it to go. I wanted Jesus to say something like, yeah, you can do Easter egg hunts, but you can, put some candy and a little cross in there, or or gosh, I don't even know how to combine Jesus into Easter egg. I'm trying to mix something that doesn't go together. And to be honest, I stopped the conversation and I didn't really bring it up again until I got home. And I got home and I sat there and I was talking to him and I was like, that didn't go well. And he said, what you see in Easter, for example, is mixture. Halloween, you can tell. That is not celebrating Jesus, like at all. And Jesus says clearly, I need to be the only one celebrated. Because he is the name above all names. He is the one who we worship. He is a God. The first commandment, love the Lord your God alone. Like no other idols, right? Second commandment, sorry, no other idols. Because he's a jealous God. He only wants to be by himself, celebrated for himself. He even gave the Israelites celebrations to celebrate him and what he had done in their lives. He didn't say when you join everyone else, kind of mix me into what you experience in your culture. He didn't say that. But that's what we've been taught. And I said, maybe I'm slow at this. You're just going to have to explain this to me another way. And he goes, Crystal, do you remember your birthdays as a child? I was like, yes, I do. He goes, so you were a twin. I have a twin sister. Identical twin sister, which means we were created from the same everything. We have the same genetics. Now, that means we have the same birthday. And when birthdays rolled around, we shared. We shared the birthday party. We shared the birthday friends. We might have had our own cake. I'll give you that. We might have had our own gifts. I'll give you that. But it was a mixture birthday party. It was a mix. It was not celebrating just Crystal with her friends. Good job, Crystal. It was not just my sister with her friends and her own party and the way that she wanted it. It was a mixture. You always had to share. You always had people coming and they're like, yeah, I love you, but I'm here for her too. And you're like, oh. God said, Crystal, that had to, to be honest, logistically speaking, I understand. But in God's heart, he does not share. And the reason I say he does not share is he said there's two teams. In the Bible, the whole thing talks about there being two teams alone. You either are team A or team B. There is no mixture. The only group that had mixture is in, I think, Revelation 13, and they were spit out. They were rejected by God. If you had mixture, you were rejected by God. So God does not want mixture. First commandment, love the Lord your God. Second commandment, no idols. No idols, no other things that you love and you follow and you celebrate and bow down to. Okay, so you don't like mixture, and you gave the Jews ways that you want to be celebrated. Okay, but if I do those celebrations, which I don't even understand what they all are, and I don't even know anything that you have given to them, and I know that we are outside of holding like all the laws of the sacrificial laws, right? We do not sacrifice animals anymore, for example, because Jesus is the ultimate sacrifice, one and done, completely did it, all done. Okay, so if Jesus did it all done and we don't have to sacrifice animals anymore, how do you want to be worshiped in those festivals? I think it's in Deuteronomy. Let me make sure. So in the festivals, well, I'm probably not even going to find it right now because I didn't even know we were going to that. How does God want to be celebrated? Not in mixture. I was like, so he goes, Crystal, mixture would be like going to someone's birthday party and a bunch of people know it's Bob's birthday party. Bob's who they're celebrating. Bob is who is the main reason you're here. It's Bob, right? Everyone loves Bob. But if a group of people came and they said, oh, we're here, we want to celebrate too, but we don't know Bob. We know Becky. So we're celebrating Becky today. Okay, but everybody knows that was Bob's celebration. That was a celebration dedicated to Bob. It does not matter what the new group says the celebration is about or how they have it in their hearts. It's still Bob's birthday. He was born on that day. They're still celebrating Bob. Becky's not born on that day. You can celebrate Becky a different way, a different time, how Becky wants to be celebrated, right? You don't celebrate Becky on Bob's birthday. And that's actually in the Bible. Again, everything he brings back is in the Bible. So it says that when, I even wrote it down for you. Here we go. 1 Corinthians 10, 18 through 22. Observe Israel after the flesh. It's Paul speaking, so he has a different way of sounding things out. Are not those who eat of the sacrifices partaking of the altar? So when other nations made sacrifices to their gods, they burned animals to eat, and then the markets would sell that meat. What am I saying? Is that idol anything? No, the idol was dead. What is offered to idols anything? No, everything offered is still made from God. Rather, here's his point, that the things which the Gentiles sacrifice, they sacrifice to demons and not to God. Whoa. Remember team A, team B? Just two teams. And I do not want you to have fellowship with demons. But the people were saying, hey, can't we just eat the meat that's sold in the markets? And Paul's literally saying, if it's from an altar that is sacrificed to demons, it is not of God. You cannot drink the cup of the Lord and the cup of demons, team A, team B. You cannot partake of the Lord's table of food and offerings and doing life with him and the table of demons, doing it your own way, just like Satan said, oh no, God doesn't care about you. Remember Garden of Eden, good tree of knowledge of good and evil? He told Eve, no, God knows you won't die yet. He knows that you will get wisdom that he has, which she didn't have. Or do we provoke the Lord to jealousy, and are we stronger than he is? So what's Paul saying? I think Paul's saying, and there's more, like, P.S., do not just listen to somebody preaching about God. Go and look at it up in the Word, in the Scriptures. If you're in America, you have access to the Bible. You are not persecuted for owning a Bible. You have access to the Word, and when you get up to heaven someday, after you're done on earth, God will say, I gave you access to my Word. What did you do with it? How much time did you spend with it? Did you study it and understand depth of what I was trying to teach you specifically? He's going to ask that question. Now, there are people in other countries who cannot have the word, who fight and hide it. There are prisoners who memorize the word that's given to them and they sneak it to each other and then they eat it because they want to hide the evidence. That's not what we live in right now. You and I don't live in that right now, but other people do. Now, here's what's interesting. Whatever I command you, Deuteronomy 12:32, be careful to observe it. Do not add or take away from it. What's he trying to say? Okay, Paul and Moses are a little different. I understand that. But my point is, when something is dedicated to Team B, Team A is not going to accept it. When something is dedicated to another God, a foreign God, God the Father of heaven and earth will not accept it, does not want it, does not want mixture. Mixture. We have gotten lost in mixture. And I didn't want to hear that, to be quite honest. And then I got Proverbs 3:11-12. I'm in the New King James Version. It's one of my new favorite versions. My son, do not despise the chastening of the Lord or detest his correction. So if he corrects you, why does he do it? Because for whom the Lord loves, he corrects, just as a father, the son in whom he delights. So his favorite son is who he's going to correct and train and discipline. That's what he's going to do. And a lot of us don't want to be corrected. A lot of us would rather live in tradition and what is socially acceptable, and everyone else is celebrating it. But God knew that everyone else would celebrate it. So he wrote it in John 15. Here we go. I already turned to it. John 15. If the world hates you, this is Jesus speaking, you know that it hated me before it hated you. Okay. If you were of the world would love its own. How do you know you are truly following Jesus Christ of the Bible? The world will not understand you. The world will not agree with you. Society in America is what you're going to be up against. And that is a big, powerful force. That's a giant, isn't it? Looks insurmountable. I can't believe it. I've always celebrated God this way. I have been taught to celebrate God this way. I was going to teach my kids the same way I was taught. Yes, but what if the Lord tells you that that's not the way he wants to be celebrated? Now you have two choices. Once you've heard this information, you have two choices. You can either do it your own way or you can do it his way. And he will ask you, at the end of days, what did you do? He will say, by the way, I gave you Proverbs 3:5-7. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. That guy, the one who's talking to you. And lean not on your own understanding. Don't follow what you think. Don't follow if you think that's true. If you truly think God wants to be celebrated by celebrating Easter and Christmas and Thanksgiving, ask him. Ask him with an open heart that trusts in the Lord and not what you know, what you've been taught, what your friend says, what your pastor says, what I say. Ask the Lord in the Bible. In all your ways, acknowledge him, and he shall direct your paths. He's going to make it clear. Do not be wise in your own eyes. Don't lean on what you've heard. Don't lean on what you've been taught. Lean on the Bible. Fear the Lord and depart from evil. When you fear the Lord, you will depart from evil. It's a combination thing. Do not be wise in your own eyes. Proud. Have you read Proverbs? Do you know what God does to the proud person? A proud person is someone who says, I know what's going on. I know what I know. And I know God. And God told Job, no, you don't. You do not know me. My ways are higher than yours. My thoughts are higher than your thoughts. For did you do anything? Job, the end of Job, God clearly says, I made all of creation. You have made nothing. Nothing. But Jesus says clearly, I am in the world, not of the world. There's the two sides. And guys, if there's two sides and you're living in mixture and you're celebrating God in mixture, you get spit out. In the end, you can live a really good life here. I mean, you can try. You can try to live your best life here. You can try to be blending with the world, but just tell them about Jesus. You can. You won't be persecuted in America. The only way you're persecuted in America if you truly follow Jesus away from what culture, American culture says to follow Jesus. American tradition says to follow Jesus. And I'm going to share John 17 with you because I think it's like the deepest thing I could find when I was getting ready to talk about this with you. Okay. Jesus, this is red words, is praying on behalf of his disciples. And I wrote it out because I like the New King James. Jesus speaking, I have manifested your name to the men whom you've given to me out of the world. Remember, he called all of his disciples to come out and follow him. So separate. They were yours, Father. You gave them to me, and they have kept your word. Because they didn't have the New Testament. They had the Old Testament. And the Old Testament still applies to the people in the New Testament, just like it does to the people of us today. For I, Jesus, have given to them the words you have given me. He literally, all the red letters, all the words, he says many times, I say what my Father says, I do what I see my Father doing, not of my own. Jesus literally said, whatever he's doing, I'm doing down here. And these people have received them, your words, and have known surely, are really confident that I came from you, Jesus says. Jesus, I came from the Father. And they have believed that you sent me. Again, they believe he's the Messiah. He's the one who is the way, the truth, and the life. Nobody comes to the Father except through him. And Father, I pray for them. I do not pray for the world. Two teams. But for those whom you have given me, for they are yours. Literally, he just divided people into two. And all mine, Jesus says, are yours, Father. And all yours are mine, and I am glorified in them. I am revealed in them. I am made complete in them. Now, I am no longer in the world, but these are in the world, and I come to you, Father. Okay, Jesus is saying that he's about to leave the world because this is right before Judas comes with all the Roman soldiers, and they arrest him, and then they crucify him. So this is right before he is about to actually exit the world, like he says. Holy Father, keep through your name whom you have given me, that they may be one as we are. Give them unity, not in commonalities of what they like, not in commonalities of where they live, in him, in Christ, as we are one. Jesus says, while I was with them in the world, I kept them in your name. Okay. Those whom you gave me I've kept, and none of them is lost, except the son of perdition, that the scriptures may be fulfilled. That, by the way, is a whole different topic. But yes, Judas was prophesied earlier in the Old Testament that Jesus would be betrayed. The Messiah would be betrayed. Jesus says, now I come to you. He's talking to the Father still. And these things I speak in the world. He's making declaration statements in his prayer, guys. That they may have my joy fulfilled in themselves. Guys, the joy of the Lord is your strength. You were made to recharge your batteries in him, in his joy. And he's saying that Your batteries may be filled with my joy, with Jesus's joy. Fully Jesus, only Jesus, completely Jesus, 100% Jesus, no mixture. I have given them your word, Father, and the world has hated them because they are not of the world. Again, two teams. I do not pray that you should take them out of the world, so don't remove them. That doesn't make sense. But that you should keep them from the evil one. So if you're not removing them from the world and you're still in the world, guess where the evil one is? In the world. Okay. I do not pray that you should take them out of the world, but that you should keep them from the evil one. They are not of this world, just as I am not of this world. Jesus is making a declarative statement. There's two teams, Jesus and society, Jesus and the world, Jesus and everyone else. If you follow Jesus, you will not look like everyone else. You will go countercultural. Countercultural. If a large international company is celebrating something like a holiday, it's going to be counter Jesus. It just is. It's going to be counter the Father. Here we go. Verse 17. I'm in John 17:17. Are you ready? Sanctify them by your truth. Your word is truth. The Bible. Your word is truth. As you sent me, Jesus, into the world, I also sent them into the world. So yeah, we're here for a reason. And for their sakes, the people, I sanctify myself, that they also may be sanctified by the truth. Well, wait a minute. Okay, sanctify is a big word. What does that mean? I looked it up for you. It means to set apart or declare as holy, to consecrate. So 1 Peter 2:9, but you are a chosen people, a royal priesthood. Wow, the priests had to be really different, by the way. A holy nation, all of the peoples. His own special people, God's, that you may proclaim or declare the praises of him who called you out of darkness and into the marvelous light. You're now on a different team. Set apart and declared holy. Jesus is saying, I set myself apart from the world, and I am holy, different from the world. And I'm calling you to do the same because you're on my team, not the other team. And then verse 20, guys. So he's actually talking about the disciples here. Like he's saying, I kept them while I was here on earth. I have them, Father, because you gave them to me, and I have not lost one. Father's going to say good job for that one, by the way. But verse 20 is what applies to us today. We were not one of the original 12. I'm just going to let you know. I do not pray. This is Jesus talking. I do not pray for these alone, these disciples alone, these 12 alone. I guess now 11 because Judas is not with them. But also for those who will believe in me through their word. That's us. That's us. That's you and me and all of us here in this generation. We are listening and reading the words of his disciples. And then we get to count. I do not pray for these men alone, but also for those who will believe in Jesus through their words, through their testimony, through their words, through all of this. We are not of the world. If the world is celebrating something that is not what God wants, he does not want mixture. He does not want Christian figurines and Easter eggs. He does not want crosses on your Christmas trees. He does not want you to dress up as the disciples for Halloween. He doesn't. He doesn't. He's not saying don't ever celebrate, but he's saying celebrate him, the one who gives you life, the one who loves you beyond anything you could even understand, the one who made you and thought the world would be a better place if I had you in it. I really love and adore this person that I'm talking to. I want them in my family. That's what Jesus is saying. That's what he's saying in his word, the whole thing. And Jesus says that he and the Father are one. So if you love Jesus, you love the Father. And he says, if you love me, you what? Will celebrate other holidays and add me to it? No. He says, you will obey my commandments. What's the commandment? Love your Lord your God with all your heart, all your soul, all your mind, and all your strength. And love your neighbor as yourself. Obey his commandments. Guys, I have to tell you, you can love and worship God the way that you've been taught, the way that you have grown up, the way that everyone else does, and if it's not how God told us in this book of his, then it's wrong. I know you're going to be really upset because I said that. It's wrong. David was wrong. First guy was wrong. I really like following after David because he was, quote, a man after God's own heart. So if you're going to follow somebody, find someone that you see evidence of God working in their lives. And if you can't find someone as a human being today physically walking this earth, look it up in the Bible. That's what a lot of the Old Testament is. That's what a lot of the New Testament is. Following hard after God. Loving him and trying to obey him. There are many times in the Old Testament when Israel and Judah had kings, that the kings did what was right in the Lord's eyes, but they forgot or did not remove something, and the people were led astray. And the people did not obey. You can follow someone with your whole heart and still not follow what God has said. Okay, so 1 Chronicles chapter 13. We're in the Old Testament, towards the beginning of the Bible. Here's the rest of the Bible. Okay? So 1 Chronicles 13, David tries to bring the Ark of the Covenant. The Lord said, when I brought you out of Egypt, I will be with you in the middle of the camp. But my presence is so holy and so powerful and so strong, I have to be in a small box so that I don't burn you guys to a crisp. Like, that's how different he is. So David goes, verse 13, let us bring back the ark of our God to us, for we did not seek it in the days of Saul. He goes, wait a minute. Saul did his entire reign without the Ark of the Covenant, meaning not in relationship with God, putting him as center first. And David has been, I think, king for 7 years already, and he goes to the Israelites, an entire assembly of Israel, and he says, if it seems good to you, and if it is from the Lord our God, let us send our people everywhere so that we can bring back the Ark of the Covenant to us. Because, by the way, the Philistines took it when it was brought into battle, and the Israelites lost the battle. The Philistines took it, and it scared them to death, because you need to read the Bible. It's really fascinating. Because they put the Ark of the Covenant with their gods, and their gods fell down in front of the Ark of the Covenant. And then God started to put plagues on those people, and they knew who it was from, and they said, we have to remove this thing. So they put the Ark of the Covenant, which is basically a really big box. They put the Ark of the Covenant on a wooden cart, with 2 cows, and the 2 cows took the Ark of the Covenant right to the border of Israel and dropped it off. They just wanted it out of their area, okay? So the entire assembly of Israel at this time said, David, let's do it, for the thing was right in the eyes of all the people. Has anybody asked God? No. They just took a census and they said, yeah, we all agree, good idea. So they found the Ark of the Covenant. And verse 7, they carried the Ark of God on a new cart. Again, you're putting it on a cart. But this isn't just a reused cart and we'll just like refurbish it. No, we did this brand new, spanking new cart for you, Lord. It's just for you. We practically dedicated the cart for you. On a new cart from the house of Abinadab, and 2 people drove the cart. Okay. David and all of Israel Israel were celebrating before God with all their might. This is verse 8. Even with songs and trumpets and lyres and harps and all of it. And when they came to the threshing floor of a certain place, the oxen nearly tipped the cart over. So this one guy puts his hand out to make sure that the box doesn't fall. His name is Uzzah. Uzza. Uzzah. The anger of the Lord burned against Uzzah, so God struck him down because he put his hand to the ark and he died there before God. Whoa! If someone dies in the middle of a parade, it's a huge deal. Then David became angry because of the Lord's outburst against Uzzah, and he called that place a new name, Perez Uzzah, to this day. David was afraid of God that day, saying, "How can I bring the ark of God home to me?" So he left it there. And then, by the way, chapter 15, they planned to move it again. Now David built houses for himself in the city of David, and he prepared a place for the ark of God and pitched a tent for it, because God's ark of the covenant had always been in a tent. Then David said, "No one is to carry the ark of God but the Levites, the set apart, sanctified, consecrated, holy people. For the Lord chose them to carry the ark of God and to minister to him forever." Then he writes down all these people and their relatives. The reason God puts names and numbers in is because he counts everybody. He knows your name. He knows if you're in a huge crowd, like in an auditorium, he knows the exact number and all of the people's names. It's really, really important to him. And he said to them, "You are the heads of the households of the Levites. So consecrate yourself, sanctify yourself, set yourself apart, that you may bring up the ark of the Lord of God of Israel to the place I've prepared for it." Remember the tent. "Because you did not carry it at first." Remember, they put it on the cart. Not how you're supposed to carry it. You're supposed to carry this box with poles through it. And then people are supposed to stand and carry it on their shoulders. Almost like how we do coffins and funerals. Separate. But because you did not carry it at the first time, the Lord our God made an outburst on us. Remember, Uzzah died? "For we did not seek him according to the ordinance, according to his standards." Not our standards of how should we do it. The Philistines had a great idea. They moved the Ark of the Covenant with a cart and oxen. We're going to do that too, but we're going to make it even fancier. It's a new cart. It's heavy oxen. It's driven by two people David truly trusted. Not how God said to do it. So the priests and the Levites did. They consecrated themselves to bring up the ark of the God of Israel. And then, here we go. Down in verse 25. So I'm in 1 Chronicles 15:25. "So it was David with the elders of Israel and the captains over thousands of people who went to bring up the ark of the covenant of the Lord from the house with joy, because God was helping the Levites who were carrying the ark of the covenant of the Lord. And they sacrificed 7 bulls and 7 rams. 7 is the number of perfection. David was clothed in fine linen. The Levites were carrying the ark. There were singers. There were dancers. All of Israel brought up the ark of the covenant with the Lord with shouting and harps and horns and trumpets and cymbals and lyres. That was the point. God said, you can have the celebration as much as you think, but if I'm not in the center of it and you did not follow what I commanded you to do and how to celebrate me, it's still not what I told you to do. Jesus says, if you love me, you will obey me. Not if you love me, you will celebrate me. Not if you love me, you will wear a Christian t-shirt. Not if you love me, you will go to church and listen to someone talk about me. He says, if you love me, you will obey what my word says. You will live your life different. And it's going to be hard. And you will be persecuted. Persecuted means gossiped about. Slandered, meaning like to be spoken against. If you are following Jesus as the Bible says, people will come against you. Most likely, the people who are doing it in mixture. Most likely, the people who do not understand because they asked and obeyed Jesus the way they were taught to, the way that society tells them to, and the way that their church or their Bible study group or their neighborhood tells them to. Not the way the Bible tells them to. You need to pick this up and read this yourself. Not by yourself. You're never by yourself because the Word is Jesus. Jesus is the Word. 1 John 1. John chapter 1? Well, now I'm curious. Hold on. John chapter 1. Thank you. In the beginning was the Word. Word is capitalized here because it's a person. And the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was with God in the beginning. Jesus. It keeps going. It's a wonderful group of concepts of who Jesus really was and how he brought light in darkness, and the darkness did not understand. The world will not understand. Why aren't you, if you say you're a Christian, why aren't you celebrating Easter? If you say you love me, why aren't you celebrating Christmas? If you say you love Jesus, why aren't you celebrating that? What's the harm in celebrating 4th of July? Okay, is 4th of July celebrating Jesus? No, it celebrates a country, America. Is America God? No. Is America Jesus? No. Are you going to celebrate something that's not Jesus and not God? That's your choice. But there's two teams. In the world, not in the world. Of the world. Team Jesus, team the world. Which one are you celebrating? You have to wake up and think about these things. Why are we celebrating those? Why do I love those? What is it in me that's holding on so hard to those? Do I love celebrating Christmas over Jesus? Do I love Christmas more than Jesus? Do I love Easter more than Jesus? Do I love church more than Jesus? Do I love my family more than Jesus? Do I love chocolate more than Jesus? All these questions are what Jesus wants to talk with you about. He says, your heart will try to hold on to many idols. Guys, that's also what fasting is. Fasting means to take away something for a period of time to get its claws out of your heart so that you can be consecrated, set apart, sanctified, and different and holy living for Jesus. You are a living sacrifice. Jesus said, take up your cross and follow me daily. Joshua said, choose this day whom you will serve, because you cannot eat from the table of demons and the table of the Lord. Two teams. And if you live in mixture and you combine them, you will be spit out. That's not what we've been taught. I don't hear any sermons or Bible studies about it. I get it. But if you don't believe me, go back to your Bible. If you don't believe me, sit in a quiet spot and talk to him. Sit in a spot as public as you want, like Walmart. He doesn't care. He is there. He's there at Walmart. He's there in your bedroom. He's there in the bathroom. He's there in the kitchen. He's there all the time in your car. He is there. Find him. Love him. Be with him. Because guys, if you say you want to get to heaven, you are going to his home. Have you ever gone to someone's house and you don't know the owner? It's awkward. You might go in with like someone else you know, and you might see someone you know, but it's still really weird to be in someone else's house and not know them. Sure, I've heard so much about them, but they don't know me. You could go to a celebrity's home. You read their biography, you watched their TV show, you followed their social media accounts, you watched their movies, all of it. But if you meet them, it will be awkward because they don't have a relationship with you. And Jesus says, in the end, if you don't have a relationship with him, he will send you away. You will say, Lord, Lord, meaning, Jesus, I know you. And he goes, get away from me. I didn't know you. You lived in mixture. You wanted to combine the two things that do not combine. And by the way, Satan wants you to combine. He's very happy if you living in mixture and taking both. He's very happy with that because he is completely and utterly against the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. He has made his choice, and he knows the way to hurt that family the most is to get you to partially join his team. Guys, this might be a really hard topic. This might be something that you're like, wow, she is way off. And I could be. Or I really hope that you figure out why you are offended. Because I remember, I'm going to say it one more time, because this was the hardest part for me when I first started talking to Jesus. Proverbs 3:11-12, my son, do not despise being corrected. Do not detest correction. It hurts. It doesn't feel good. But for whom the Lord loves, he corrects. Just as a father in the son in whom he delights. Guys, that's what Jesus said that's what the Father said when Jesus was baptized. This is my son in whom I am well pleased. I am delighted. I love. I am a champion of. I fully support this guy. That's what he's saying to you. He's saying, yeah, you were taught wrong. Yeah, you are still told wrong. Yeah, you are still shown incorrectly. But you are not done. You have a choice. Choose this day whom you will serve. And it is also your choice to serve in mixture. I love you. This is what I experienced just going to Walmart today. So imagine tomorrow's going to be like. All right, I'll talk to you later.